This week's Xbox deals are even better than last week's Xbox deals, which had a great selection at 90% off. And this week, I'm going to go into a bunch more that are 90% off, including a few of my favorites, which I've already purchased and I'll get to near the end of the video. Right now, though, we're going to start off with a game called Windbound. Windbound is a third-person survival game. Stranded on a desert island, it's basically a chain of islands that get harder and harder as you go, hitting beacons or something like that to get to the next level. I'm going to give you a heads up. It is a little bit boring at first, and it's quite a difficult game to manage as you worry about hunger, stamina, and planning ahead. So if you're into a little bit of a challenge at a slightly slower pace, this would be the game for you. You can see by the graphics, it's pretty cool. I like the concept. I'm a little on the fence myself. Wartile is an interesting real-time strategy game meets board game. And you control a small band of Viking miniatures to be exact. And although there's a little bit of complaint about bad camera angles and a slightly weak story, I am a very big fan of these graphics. The concept is really cool. And at the price it's listed, I think I might give this one a shot. Obliteracers. It looks like a fun one-screen kind of card game. Challenging, a little bit cheesy or ridiculous, I'll give it that, but 16 players online, and it looks like one of those fun games that you just want to have if you have company over and play some cheesy games where you can play with friends. I do have one warning for you, and I'm going to use Nintendo speak to do this one. It is not a Mario Kart game. Think more Smash Brothers, if that helps at all, because I don't want you going in here thinking you're getting a Mario Kart game. No, it's more of a battle. It is a race game, but definitely a concept onto its own. I think the graphics are pretty cool, and as usual at this price, probably a good time to pick it up. This War of Mine is a different kind of war game. It's done from the civilian point of view, and it's a side-scrolling action game, as you can see. You're worried about your health, your mood, hunger, your crafting, and it's a lot about strategies of surviving the war that's raging around you. Now, here's the problem. It is extremely difficult from what I've read, and one wrong choice can actually cause you to have to reset the entire game because the whole thing will go to hell after that. So, but at this price and at, well, these amazing graphics, I'll give it for a side scroller. It might be a game you want to check out. I'm thinking I might want to pass, but it has intrigued my interest. I'll give it that. Always made great games, and right now their game Heat is ridiculously low priced and might be worth checking out, but make sure you get the deluxe edition. However, Unbound does look better. It's a little bit more pricey, and same with Hot Pursuit. It's a little more pricey as well, but I've always been a giant fan of the Hot Pursuit because, well, for me, being chased by police and helicopters and cars, it just was a lot more fun than a simple racing game. But I said you are going to be paying a little bit more for those two, and they've been making games for a very long time. I've been playing Need for Speed probably since they first came out, at least PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly. Now, here's the thing I'm wondering about. They've been pricing some of their Need for Speed games for 90% on and off for quite a while now. What is the problem with them, and why are they having to discount them so often? So I don't know if I'm going to get this one, but I had to put it in your head because it is a AAA game, I think, for a great price, and Need for Speed have always been good at racing games. But this nonstop 90% off has me a little bit confused, so I'll leave you with that. Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthbound. At this great price, I'd almost go and suggest it right away, but I want to give you a couple warnings. It is an action role-playing game based on White Wolf's tabletop RPG. You play as a human, a wolf, and a werewolf, which is pretty awesome in concept, but it doesn't look to be a AAA game, so there might be some problems with it along the way. It may not be as great or as some of the best games out there, but at this price and you want to play a werewolf, I haven't seen too much better in this field. So this one you might want to consider. Also, since we're talking about werewolves, I got to bring up the vampire game, Vampire Masquerade. You're going to want to go with the Swan Song. Got to look this one up. Primogen Edition at 80% off. Not 90, I know, but 80% off is still a great deal. But got to warn you, it's not a sequel to Bloodlines. It's not really an action game. It's more of a story-based RPG. Mostly dialogue and mystery, but you do get 3 vampires to cycle through, each with their own abilities. So it is an incredibly cool concept. The graphics are pretty amazing. So this one you might want to check out and do your little werewolf vampire theme. Fans of the One Piece Magma universe, there's 2 great games right now at incredible prices. A little bit of warning on this one as well. One Piece World Seeker Deluxe Edition is the one you probably want to go for, but it has been on sale for 90% off almost every time I go to the Xbox store in the last little while. So why they keep doing that makes me wonder whether it's even worth this game. But if you do love the One Piece universe, the graphics actually do look pretty amazing. And from what I've read, there's been some pretty happy people that have played this game. I'm just curious why it keeps being discounted so low. The other one, however, I've not seen discounted, and it's still at the same great deal, is one of their fighting games. It's called Burning Blood. Once again, I do enjoy the graphics. I'm not a big anime fan, but you gotta appreciate that. So, like I said, fans of the One Piece Magma universe may want to check out these two games. If not, I myself probably going to pass on. Field, kind of one of the main competitions for the Call of Duty franchises, and probably the reason that I've never played much of them because I really love the Call of Duties. However, Call of Duties have almost never gone below 70%, and every time I had to purchase one, I've had to pay more than I like. The last one was Call of Duty 4, and I got it at 67% off, which I think Call of Duty 3 right now is also priced that way. But in any case, Battlefield 5 is priced down to a ridiculously low level, and if you're interested in the whole series, this would probably be a great entry point at that price. I do want to mention Battlefield 2042 is also discounted, not quite as great price, but it does look amazing, and that's where you're going to have to make your decision, or heck, grab both at these prices. But just wanted to put that out there at this price. The Battlefield, gotta consider it. Okay, now for the games that I'm most excited about. Two of them are actually Star Wars games. The first one is Squadrons. I already purchased it about a month or two back at the same ridiculously low price. Graphics, story, gameplay, just no regrets when I bought this game. Here, take a look at the clip.
Admiral, we're here. Yeah, but the convoy's way over there. The bad guys between us and them. Echo Squadron, transfer all power to engines. Head below the Star Destroyer and wait for my signal. Echo 5.
See what I mean? How can you argue with that? And how can you argue with that at that price? This is one of my top suggestions to run out and get right away. The other one is Jedi Fallen Order. I don't own it, but I've been playing it on Game Pass, so it's my cheat for a lot of games. Don't see why I'm going to pay for it if they're giving it to me for free. However, at this price, and you don't have a Game Pass, or you want to own it if it ever comes off or whatever, you stop Game Pass, look into this one. And once again, here, take a look at this clip. It's just the beginning of the game, but it'll give you a rough idea of how good it is. So right there, two Star Wars games, great prices, just hard to argue with this. These are among my top two suggestions. And finally, this is it. We're going to start off with Batman Arkham Collections. It includes one of my favorite Batman games of all time, The Dark Knight, or Arkham Knight, sorry. And let's just stop for a clip on this one. I'll do a little thing for you. Boop.
Joker's Funland was still open. No lines for the Ferris wheel.
Now, the other games are included in this bundle. It's not 90% off like I like to promote, but at this price for this game, it's so worth it. Comes with all the little additions, so you get to play Robin and I think Batgirl. I can't remember. You get to play a bunch of different characters, including Catwoman, which is fun. So this was one of my favorites, and this is the big suggestion for the week, except for Gotham Knights. Now, you might have a problem with it because it starts off with the death of Batman, and you have to play between four characters. Not Dick Grayson, sorry. Tim Drake's Robin, the Red Hood, which I believe is Jason Todd, of course. You do get Dick Grayson, but him is Nightwing, and Batgirl, which Barbara Gordon somehow recovered from her back injury, which I actually can't remember if it happens in this world or not, but she's she's in there, and these are the four characters. It is a lot more like in the vein of Arkham Knight than what supposedly everyone is saying that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is. Well, first of all, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League puts guns in King Shark and Captain Boomerang, and it's based on that. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around that one. Anyways, this game, Gotham Knights, definitely feels a lot more like the Arkham So this is the way I'd go if you really like that collection. Also, Suicide Squad is still full price, and I will wait quite a while before I buy that one if it doesn't come down in price. The last thing on that topic, it has had a bunch of glitches and a bunch of bugs fixed. They even had to reset the leaderboard for it, so you may want to wait on Suicide Squad anyways till they sort all that mess out. So these have been my games this week. There's been some really good ones. Next week, obviously, I'll keep on going with it. And actually, from my last video, all those games that I pointed out that were 90% still seem to be on sale for another week. So you may want to check out my last video to see a whole bunch of games that are still 90%. This is the way you build your collection up without breaking the bank. Hopefully, I'll see you next week.